For the 11th time in 14 years, the Miami Dolphins finished first in the AFC Eastern Division. And on December 31st, 1983, they were poised to ring out the old year on a high note with a playoff win over the Seattle Seahawks. But this was not the same Miami team that won 9 of its last 10 games, their last 5 in a row. Instead, the Dolphin performance on this afternoon had a hollow ring.
Looks right, he fires it, caught by Johnson, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Miami! The Dolphins down by 4 points. Here's the snap to give to Bennett. He's fighting for the goal line, he scored! Tony Bennett into the end zone.
With a 3-point lead late in the game, just when the Dolphins thought a return to the Super Bowl was within their grasp, the Seahawks came back to snatch it away. When the pain of that defeat wears off, when the Dolphins begin looking ahead, they will see the makings of many more championships to come. The name Don Shula is synonymous with success. And in his 14 years as head coach in Miami, he has learned as much from defeat as he has from victory.
There's a quote that I use, I'm not quite sure if it's Churchill, that success isn't final and failure isn't fatal. And if you get beat, you're not dead. You've got the opportunity to get up off the floor and hopefully learn something from the negative experience that you've just gone through that is going to help you in future competitions. Right now, my thought is today, tomorrow, what's going to happen this year and what's going to happen next year.
The Dolphins opened the '83 season in Buffalo in a game that matched the NFL's 2 best defenses from the year before.
Last but left! Team 29!
With 2 interceptions and 6 quarterback sacks, the Dolphin defense shut out the Bills 12-0. But offensively, it was not a productive day. Worse, Miami lost 2 key players with season-ending knee injuries, as both Jimmy Cefalo and Tommy Vigorito, number 32, went down in the first half. Kicker Uwe von Schamann accounted for all of Miami's points with 4 field goals. Win number 1 was in the books. The next week, the Dolphins returned to Miami for their home opener. And on his way to the Orange Bowl, owner Joe Robbie reflected on his years in the National Football League.
I've always said that if you enjoy everything you do, every minute that you're up, you're not working. And in that sense, I'm not working because I enjoy everything about being in professional football. I think we're some of the luckiest people on earth, and so are our players. And I think we ought to represent ourselves that way to the American people. Our hardcore fans are some of the best fans in professional football, and our players refer to the fans as the 12th player in the team because the fans give them such a lift cheering the Dolphins on to victory.
Against the New England Patriots, quarterback David Woodley led a balanced Dolphin attack that generated close to 400 yards of total offense. The Dolphins took a 17-3 lead on a touchdown pass to tight end Dan Johnson, number 87. Then Woodley teamed with Duriel Harris on the longest scoring play of the young season, 64 yards. The 34-24 win marked the 16th straight time the Dolphins have bested the Patriots at home. But over the next few weeks, a pall hung over the Dolphin offense. Miami lost 2 of their next 3, but got a close look at rookie quarterback Dan Marino, who showed flashes of promise in substitute roles in Los Angeles and New Orleans. After a 17-7 loss to the Saints, the Dolphins were last in the league in passing and 23rd in scoring. Don Shula was compelled to make a change. His forces needed a shot in the arm. Shula's decision, go with a rookie. Suddenly, at 22 years of age, Dan Marino was asked to bear the responsibility of reviving the dormant Miami offense. There were skeptics, to be sure. He was only the 6th quarterback taken in the college draft. Things did not begin well. By the second period, Marino had thrown 2 interceptions and was sacked once. But the shaky start did not shake Marino's confidence, nor Don Shula's confidence in him. By the second half, patience paid off when number 13 caught fire. With touchdown passes to veteran Nat Moore and to rookie Mark Clayton, Marino had given the Dolphins a dynamic new look. In the third period, 3 newcomers and a veteran teamed up on a flea flicker that went Marino to Tony Nathan to Clayton to Mark Duper for 48 yards. And it was Duper again from Marino for 63 yards.
Marino drops the throw, has time, going deep up the sideline, man down, got it, 30, 25, 20, Duper, they'll never catch him, touchdown!
The Dolphins lost by 3 in overtime, but the sudden impact of Dan Marino resounded through the Orange Bowl. Miami had put 35 points on the board. More than that, they found their quarterback of the future.
Offensively, we had to start putting some points on the board, and no matter who it was playing quarterback, if it was David or me or Don Strock, someone had to be able to move the offense to put the points on the board. And fortunately, I've had some success, and we've been able to score some points and win some games.
2 weeks later, after number 13 teamed with Nat Moore, number 89, in wins over the Colts and the Jets, Dan Marino was leading the AFC in passing, a position he would hold at season's end.
I'm doing something I've always wanted to do since I've been little, and there's not many people in this world today that can say that they've dreamt to do something and they're doing it, and they're actually fulfilling a dream, and I'm real happy about that, and I feel very fortunate. And it's nothing but fun, and playing in front of a lot of people and doing what you love to do has to be fun.
As the Dolphins' offense soared, the defensive secondary of Coach Tom Keene was being challenged. Injuries to 7 linebackers forced a switch from the 3-4 to the 4-3. The move altered the effects of the pass rush and put additional pressure on Miami defensive backs. A preseason injury to cornerback Don McNeil put the heat on his replacement, second-year man William Judson, number 49. Judson responded by setting an NFL record, intercepting 3 New York Jet passes in 1 quarter. Judson went on to become the team leader in interceptions with 6 and was voted the Dolphins' most valuable defensive back. Second to Judson in interceptions, Gerald Small, number 48, who turned in 5 pickoff plays. Then there were the Blackwoods, two splinters off the same plant. Lyle, number 42, and brother Glenn, number 47, combined to steal 7 more passes to help give the Dolphins a team total of 26 interceptions. But this is a unit not merely skilled at tracking down enemy areas. They are a physical bunch who like to dress up on Sunday and put on the hits.
The game of football is just a kid's game, and I think I'm just a grown-up, playing the role of a kid out there, and I love doing it every Sunday. It's a challenge of just facing a team, preparing for them during the week, and trying to, match your skills against their skills and your wits against their wits, and just seeing who had the best game plan, who worked the hardest during the week, and who wants to play and fight the hardest on that particular Sunday.
Bob Brzezinski and A.J. Douay were the leaders of a linebacking corps decimated by injuries. Those called upon to step in include Charles Bowser, number 56, the Dolphins' Rookie of the Year in 1982. With Bowser were rookie Mark Brown, number 51, a 9th-round draft pick, and defensive captain Ernie Roan, number 55. While Terry Tortolo and Rodell Thomas joined Bob Brzezinski, the Dolphins' top linebacker in 1983. In 1984, coaches Chuck Studley and Mo Scarry will refine the work of the departing Bill Arnsparger, who left behind a defense that allowed the fewest points in the NFL. Led by veterans Doug Betters and nose tackle Bob Baumhauer, the Dolphins' pass rush was spiced up by the youngest player in the NFL, massive Mike Charles, number 71. Tim Bocamper, number 58, continued to refine his skills as a down lineman, and the former linebacker has never lost his nose for the football. Playing the game's most demanding position, nose tackle Bob Baumhauer, number 73, earned his 4th trip to the Pro Bowl. Joining Baumhauer in Honolulu was Doug Betters, number 75, voted the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year. Betters was double-teamed on most every play, then responded with his own special brand of waterfront football.
You don't get there unless you're intense about it, and you've got to stay after it. And a lot of times it's not too pretty, but whatever you got to do, you got to just scratch and fight and do whatever you can to get loose.
In the last 10 games of the regular season, Betters and company allowed less than 14 points a game, while the offense continued to gain momentum as the season wore on. In Week 9, the Dolphins got a foothold on first place in the AFC East. The added dimension of running back David Overstreet, number 20, the passing of Dan Marino, and the receiving of Mark Duper carried the Dolphins to a 30-14 win over the playoff-bound Los Angeles Rams. A week later, against NFC Western champion San Francisco, Marino connected often with Nat Moore, number 89, twice for touchdowns, as the Dolphins' 20-17 win secured their lock on first place. After an off year in '82, Nat Moore returned to the form that makes him the Dolphins' all-time leading receiver. While Moore added to his team record, he used his 10 years of NFL experience to help a younger receiver, Mark Duper, number 85. A student of receivers coach Dave Shula as well, Duper did not start until the season's 6th game. But with Olympian speed, he still broke Paul Warfield's record for receiving yards in a season and averaged just under 20 yards a catch. At 5'9", 185 pounds, Duper is tough as a 50-cent steak, and defenders who tried to stop him found they bit off more than they could chew.
I'll tell you, when Duper gets in behind anybody, it's Katie bar the door. He runs the 40 in 4.25, was a member of that Northwestern Louisiana State NCAA national champion 440-yard relay team a couple of years ago, was the Dolphins' second-round draft choice. I think he's probably won himself a job.
You only got one chance to make a great first impression. Number 85 did just that in '83. Other great first impressions were made by rookie Reggie Roby, who averaged over 43 yards per punt and frequently got a boost from the Dolphins Special Teams Player of the Year, rookie Robert Sowell, number 45. Third-year specialist Fulton Walker, number 41, continued to improve and led the NFL in kickoff returns. His longest, a 78-yarder against the New York Jets. Also making an impact on Coach Bob Matheson's special team was Mark Clayton, number 83, who led the team in punt returns in his rookie season. Defense, offense, special teams. In every area, the Dolphins boast both experience and youth. Much of the Dolphins' offensive turnaround can be attributed to the men in the trenches, the offensive line. Center Dwight Stevenson and guards Ed Newman and Bob Kuchenberg all made the Pro Bowl, while tackle Eric Latzo played well enough to be there. John Giesler, Cleveland Green, Jeff Taves, and Roy Foster round out this veteran unit, skilled in the ways of hand-to-hand combat. Line coach John Sandusky and strength coach Junior Wade both helped mold this line that helped beat the Baltimore Colts 37-9. Then geared up to face the Cincinnati Bengals on a Monday night in November. All the Dolphins did was score 38 points against the number 1 defense in the NFL. Fullback Andra Franklin joined Tony Nathan, number 22, to help bury the Bengals 38-14. Tony Nathan combines the power and speed of a runner who can carry defenders with him or leave them behind. In 1983, Tony Nathan averaged 4.5 yards per carry and added a team-leading 52 pass receptions. In the season's 14th week, Nathan's 118 total yards helped fuel a come-from-behind victory in Houston, and the win clinched another division title for the Dolphins. On the downside, a knee injury sidelined Dan Marino for the remainder of the regular season. While the loss of a Dan Marino would hurt most teams, the Dolphins summoned the game's premier reliever, veteran Don Strock. As cool as the other side of a pillow, Strock's history of substitute heroics was enhanced in the season's final 2 contests. Strock stepped in against the Atlanta Falcons to complete 18 of 22 passes. In the 31-24 win, the Dolphins' running attack, directed by Carl Tassif, was again bolstered by first-year Dolphin David Overstreet, number 20.
Overstreet around the left side, gets the corner turn, 10, 5, back to his right, still digging, goes in for the touchdown.
In the regular season finale against the New York Jets, Don Shula got a good look at the future as David Overstreet continued his late season surge. Mark Duper chimed in with another scoring pass from Strock. Then, in a span of 61 seconds, Mike Kozlowski intercepted 2 passes for touchdown.
They're after him. He fires in the middle. This one's intercepted. 35, 30, another touchdown. Kozlowski, 2 intercepts, 2 touchdowns, and the Dolphins have busted this one wide, smack dab open.
For the 11th time under Don Shula, the Dolphins finished first in the AFC East. Shula has set nothing short of a winning example in his 14 years in Miami.
I just believe that if you live your own life in such a way that if people are looking for example, that there's an example there that they can follow. And this is what I try to do without really trying to pour myself or force myself on anybody. I also like to try to do things with as much class and with as much dignity as I can lend to them. The fact that you can accomplish within the rules is the most important thing, and it can be done with some class.
The Dolphins will win with class, with men like Dan Marino, a bright young quarterback who is just beginning to master his trade. This is a team saturated with veterans residing in their peak years. It is a team rich with young talent who helped turn the Miami offense around in 1983. While most teams rise and fall like ships at sea, the Dolphins remain anchored at the top. Indeed, 1983 was yet another year of triumph for the Miami Dolphins, a team with a future as bright as their past.
It was one of the finest seasons in the 64-year history of the National Football League. In all of professional sports, no other league packs so much excitement and drama into game day.
All right, Bunch, here's a chance. We got the ball first. Now, let's get a block. Go to kickoff. Let's bring it out. Let's have some fun, man. Let's
As always, there were dominant players and dominant teams. But never in the league's history has a championship chase been at the fingertips of so many. The Detroit Lions rode the enthusiasm and talent of running back Billy Sims, number 20, to their first division championship since 1957. Another inspirational performance was turned in by Atlanta's Billy Johnson, number 81, who was named the comeback player of 1983. After 2 knee operations as a Houston Oiler, a brief stint in Canada, and a year on the bench in Atlanta, it seemed that the career of Billy White Shoes was over. But in 1983, number 81 destroyed such notions with a season so stunning it made believers of dreamers everywhere.
Now they've got to go to the end zone with 2 seconds left.
Are we talking Hail Mary, or are we talking reception and lateral?
I would say right here you've got to go to Billy White Shoes and let him do a little dance with the ball and try to go for the end zone. Here come the Falcons with Hodge, Bailey, and Johnson all to the left side. 2 seconds remain. 49ers will come with a 3-man rush. Bartkowski to throw. He is going long, one down the near sideline. It's going to be a jump ball, and it is pulled down by Billy Johnson. Johnson inside the 10, 5. He is down. He is. Give it to him. He's in. Touchdown! Touchdown, Atlanta. Billy Johnson. It's a touchdown.
No time on the clock.
The Falcons have won it. They pulled it from nowhere. The Falcons have won it. Big Ben left, and it worked.
Full moon over Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Shoes did his thing.
Billy White Shoes Johnson, a touchdown.
Once he caught it, he had no place to go. He got inside the 5, looked for daylight, and then dove for the end zone.
How about that?
Even though the Atlanta Falcons weren't a team of destiny, thanks to the proven skills of Billy Johnson, they were a team of daring and drama. In Denver, the Broncos were banking on the unproven pro skills of quarterback John Elway, the NFL's #1 draft choice. Number 7 won the starting job during preseason, but when the regular season kicked off, Elway couldn't stand up to the pressure. Denver's complex offense disoriented Elway, and he spent much of his first season just trying to get his bearings. But helped along by head coach Dan Reeves, Elway rebounded and led the Broncos to a wild card playoff berth. Never before has youth played such a part in turning NFL teams around. Running backs Eric Dickerson of the Rams, Kurt Warner of the Seahawks, and quarterback Dan Marino of the Dolphins all were rookies who were instrumental in their team's assault on the playoffs. Miami's Don Shula went with Marino in the season's 5th week, and number 13 responded by leading the AFC in passing, while directing the Dolphins to the AFC Eastern title. Marino gave Miami a deep passing game. Number 29, Eric Dickerson, gave the Rams a running attack and a playoff berth. Eric's 1,808 yards rushing led the NFL and were the highest total by a first-year player in NFL history. His 85-yard touchdown run against the Jets was also the longest run from scrimmage in 1983. The top rusher in the AFC was Seattle's first-round choice Kurt Warner, number 28. Thanks to this versatile and elusive rookie, the Seahawks soared to the first playoff berth in franchise history and made Chuck Knox the first head coach to lead 3 different teams into postseason play.
The H got over here. They were going to overshift the line, and they were not going to adjust the secondary.
NFL 83 was a season of complexity. On offense, the one-back attack was in, and the defense had to find a way to stop it.
As you read this type of action, you've got to get depth, because they've zipped the Z in so far that he'll be coming in behind you.
Modern defense is formulated around strength in numbers. But one powerful man on the line of scrimmage can still control the game. Outside linebackers like Lawrence Taylor of the Giants and number 53 Hugh Green of the Buccaneers emerged as the most dominant defenders in the game today. Their rare blend of athletic skill destroyed the best laid plans of an offense. In 1983, these and other talented players led a charge that resulted in an NFL record for defensive touchdowns in one season. With offenses spread all over the field and passing the football at a record clip, turnovers turned into touchdowns as defenders found that they could remedy an unfavorable situation with a single blow. Because of this wide-open approach, the pulse of any game could change rapidly. But this was more the result of the NFL's offenses, whose imaginative plans of attack were as deceiving as they were delightful to watch. Not since the pass-happy days of the 1950s have so many spirals filled the air. Green Bay's Lynn Dickey was one of 3 quarterbacks who threw for over 4,000 yards. Atlanta's Steve Bartkowski was the NFL's top-ranked passer. With 92 receptions, Los Angeles Raider tight end Todd Christensen led all receivers. Teams won by passing when they wanted to pass, not when the defense dictated that they could. While 1983 featured great individual talent, only the great teams won.
All right, let's go split right close, 20 paint. 20.
With its one back, 2 tight ends, and pre-snap movement, the Washington Redskin offense, quarterbacked by Joe Theismann, scored 541 points, the highest in NFL history. Their flash dance passing was complemented by bullish John Riggins, who set an NFL record with 24 touchdowns. Armed with the best offense in football and the league's toughest defense to run against, the Redskins bred the conviction in an opponent that they would have to play a perfect game to beat them. Only 2 did, as Washington won 14 regular season games and then 2 more en route to the NFC Championship. The rise of the Redskins over the past 2 seasons has been at the expense of one of the league's most consistent winners, the Dallas Cowboys. In 1983, the Cowboys' shotgun was loaded once again with deadly ammunition. The end zone always seemed in the range of number 33, Tony Dorsett, and number 11, Danny White. On both sides of the football, Dallas could shoot down an opponent, and 12 times in 1983, they did just that. only Dallas appeared to have the firepower to stop the rampaging Redskins. And in their Monday night season opener, the Cowboys overcame a 23-0 halftime lead to win 31-30. They would win 11 out of their next 13 games and had only to beat Washington at home in the season's 15th Sunday to win the Eastern Division Championship. It began as a typical Cowboy and Redskin shootout. In the first half, the Cowboys were swept under a wave of burgundy that was stirred up by Joe Theismann. But late in the third quarter, with the contest still undecided, the Cowboys faced a 4th and 1. The plan was to lure Washington off sides and never snap the ball. But at the line of scrimmage, Danny White audibled into an off-tackle play that proved to be the downfall of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas was routed 35-10. And 2 weeks later, the Los Angeles Rams kicked the Cowboys right out of the wild card playoffs. Suddenly, Dallas's 18th consecutive winning season and impressive 12-4 record was overshadowed by their failure to get to the Super Bowl. The New Orleans Saints have never been to a Super Bowl. In fact, they have never had a winning season.
One thing I want you to remember, football is only a small part of your life. It ain't life or death out there. All we got to do is go out and do the same thing that we asked from the first day we started. Do everything as good as you can, and then a little bit more. That's all the hell you got to do.
In his third year as head coach, Bum Phillips rebuilt the Saints into a team that learned how to win. Led by old pro Kenny Stabler, number 16, New Orleans set their sights on something they had always wanted, but never had, a winning year. Much of the excitement stemmed from Bum's defense. The Saints were the NFC's top-ranked defenders, and by the season's final Sunday, New Orleans was but one game away from their elusive dream. Only the Los Angeles Rams stood in their way. Unfortunately, the Saints threw away their golden moment as the Rams scored on a punt return and 2 interceptions. With but 6 seconds remaining, a field goal finally ended Bum's quest of making his Saints winners. And they rode out of 1983 saddled with a record of 8 wins and 8 losses. The Los Angeles Raiders are at the opposite end of the spectrum from the Saints. During the last 20 years, they have been the winningest organization in pro sports. While some suggest that the game has taken on a vanilla flavor as teams seek to avoid mistakes, the Raiders still swing from the heels, regardless of which team has the football. The Raiders' philosophy is simple. Great players make great plays. Led by stars like Marcus Allen, number 32, they prove this by running away with the AFC Western Division title for the 9th time in the last 14 years. Los Los Angeles Raiders have been so typecast as intimidators and roughnecks that people forget how much genuine talent they have. But in the playoffs, they not only displayed their talent, they also showed that they were a team that knows how to run when the wire is near. The Raiders destroyed the Pittsburgh Steelers 38-10. Then struck 12 on the Cinderella season of the Seattle Seahawks with a 30-14 pounding in the AFC Championship game. Only the Redskins blocked the championship chase of these mighty Raiders.
You guys were magnificent. We played a great football game. We deserve to be the champs and represent this conference. We're going to Tampa, baby. We're going to
Super Bowl 18. The Los Angeles Raiders and the defending world champion Washington Redskins. What seemed to be a perfect matchup quickly turned into a classic mismatch. The Raiders scored immediately, then turned loose their stable of thoroughbreds on the stunned Redskins. Marcus Allen ran for a Super Bowl record 191 yards, and quarterback Jim Plunkett passed the Raiders to a 14-3 lead. Redskins head coach Joe Gibbs watched helplessly as Raiders cornerback single-covered his speedy wide receivers. This freed the corner linebackers from outside pass coverage and allowed them to blitz and pressure Joe Theismann. The Redskin ground game fared even worse as the Raider inside linebackers shut down the inside power running of John Riggins. But 12 seconds remaining in the half, the Redskins were backed against their own goal line. But instead of running out the clock, they gambled.
I felt that being behind 14-3, I was not comfortable with falling on the ball. I just wasn't going to do that. And as a matter of fact, the statement was made on the sideline, hey, maybe we ought to run a play. And I said, no, we're not. It was my decision. I made it.
Gibbs' decision resulted in Jack Squirick's interception and gave the Raiders a 21-3 halftime lead and ended the competitive phase of Super Bowl 18.
I think that if there had been a way for me to be on that sideline at that point in the game and stop the world right there, and if I could have, at that point, taken a vote from everybody that had been there or been watching on TV, and I think there'd been a lot of people said, hey, yeah, let's take a shot, you know, let's give that thing a shot. We don't want to just fall on the ball. We haven't done anything all day. I think there'd been a lot of people that would have said that. After it happened, I don't think I can find 5 that would say that, but that's my job.
The Raiders raced to a blowout of unthinkable proportions, a 38-9 victory over the defending world champions.
Plunkett giving to Allen, sending him wide left. He has to reverse his field, but he gets away for a moment. Comes back up the middle of 40, 25, 40. Right past 2 men at the 50, down to the 40, picking up a blocker. Oh,
It was their 3rd world championship, and they had done it in a style befitting their swashbuckling image. As always, the season belongs to the champion, and 1983 belonged to the Los Angeles Raiders.